Now, this picture depicts the pre-COVID era, which was few months back, in which actually three personnel are shifting the patient from stretcher to the bed. Now, the only concern in that era was the patient safety, and the literature was also reflecting the same, which focused on patient transport delays and efficiency of the operating room. Now, in this COVID era, there is a paradigm shift in the transportation of the patient, in which minimum personnel are required. Robots, if possible, they are welcome. Transport delays are hardly a concern. Doctor's safety is of equal importance to that of the patient, and so is apprehension. Now, mostly the surgery that is to be done on COVID patients are emergency surgeries, which may be due to the disease process or in general, obstetric emergencies or orthopedic emergencies. All elective surgical procedures on suspected or confirmed COVID-19 patients should be postponed until confirmed infection clearance, that is, they should be RT-PCR negative. Now, the protection of the transportation of the COVID positive patient involves three important aspects. That is the protection of COVID positive patient as they are critically ill, requiring oxygen or ventilatory support, and there may be an unjustified alarmism because of the proximity of the COVID patient, which leads to psychological trauma and anxiety to the patient. And important aspect is the protection of non-COVID patients and staff members from exposure. Once it has been decided that the patient is to be operated, now before shifting the patient, it is very important to notify the OR that we will be shifting the patient. There should be no stoppage of in-transit surgical patients in the anesthetic bay, recovery room, or any place other than the COVID dedicated operative room. Same transport personnel from transport origin to destination should be handed over the patient. The OR closest to the entrance of the theater block should be designated as the COVID operating room. Correct identification of the patient is very important as the mask will obscure face. There may be inter-hospital transfers or transfers from one building to another. In such case, a dedicated vehicle should be used and minimum transfer personnel should be there, which should be specifically trained, and they should be equipped with personal protection equipment. Patient compartment of the vehicle should be separate from the driver. If the patient is to be shifted from adjacent premise like ICU or ward, a stretcher can be used, and all safety precautions should be taken like strapping, adequate strapping, and use of rails. Hospital, once the patient is landed in the hospital itself or is out of the ICU or ward, hospital security can be used for clearing the route from the ward or ICU, and elevators should be kept ready. If the lifts are utilized, then they should be sanitized adequately. Adequate dedicated sanitization should be done if there is any unexpected contamination during the transport, like patient vomiting. A trained 24/7 cleaning team from the local contracted cleaning service should be used. Now, a word about cleaning and sanitization of these surfaces. Surface and electromedical sanitization sequence that should be followed should be the cleaning with chloroderivative solution followed by rinsing and drying, and then disinfecting with chloroderivative solution in a concentration of more than or equal to 1.1% of the solution, and the time of contact should be more than 1 minute. An alcohol-based rub should be used to clean and disinfect reusable patient care equipments before use on another patient. The patient should be prepared by sanitizing. First and foremost is the sanitization of patient's hands before the transport. They should wear an autoclaved operation theater clothes, cap, and very important is the surgical mask or N95 mask that they should wear. It should be ensured that the body is covered including the wounded part with a plastic sheet. Now, adequate pre-medication in the form of benzodiazepines like midazolam and alprazolam or opioids like fentanyl should be given to reduce the anxiety of the patient. Early intubation should be considered if high flow oxygen is required. Now, there might be some controversies regarding these statements, which we can discuss later. High flow nasal cannula or BiPAP therapy should be avoided due to increased generation of aerosols. Now, intubated patient should be transferred via special Bain circuit connected with the tube, that is through HEPA filter and a dedicated transport ventilator. If a dedicated transport ventilator is not available, single patient use ambu bag with HME viral filter attached must be used during transfer. Now, the position of filter is very important, which should be between the endotracheal tube connector and xylem so as to prevent aerosol transfer. Suctioning should be done prior to transfer through a closed suction apparatus. Intravenous sedation and muscle relaxation should be given prior to transport to prevent any coughing and movement which might lead to disconnection of tube and dispersion of droplets. To avoid aerosolization, gas flow should be turned off and the endotracheal tube should be clamped with forceps during switching off ventilators. The transportation should be as quick as possible. Route to operating theatre should be planned ahead and evacuated to minimize patient contact with others. In the operation theatre area, the patient transportation should be avoided via a common control or recovery area. If this is not possible, then other patients should be partitioned off from the path of the infected patient. The protection of the healthcare workers is one of the primary focus that needs to be taken care of in the transport of the patient. Minimum staff should be used to transport the patient safely to the OR. Transport operators must sanitize their hands and wear personal protection equipment before transfer. The contact with the patient should be minimized and lowest oxygen flow possible should be applied to maintain oxygenation to minimize aerosol generation. Adequate training and mock drills of the healthcare workers is a necessary step. Now, once the patient is operated and a decision to keep the patient intubated is taken, then either the transport ventilator that we had already used while bringing the patient should be used, or the dedicated ambu bag that we had designated should be used. Immediate placement of surgical mask or N95 mask over the patient after tracheal extubation is recommended. Recovery should be done in the OR itself, and the patient should be shifted directly to the isolation ward or ICU from the operating room. The transport personnel, which should be the same one who has brought the patient to the OR, should remove the existing PPE, clean the hands, wear fresh PPE, and then transport the patient on a bed or trolley to ward or ICU. Now, before concluding, I would like to say a word about donning and doffing of the personal protection equipments. Donning is important, which involves the following steps. First and foremost is the wearing of gown, shoe covers, followed by two-layered gloves, then mask or respirator, and finally the face shield. But doffing, which is very, very important, I've included a video here. As it says, it takes just 4 minutes and a lifetime of patience to remove the PPE correctly. Now, every step should be followed by rinsing of the hand with sanitizer. This particular step is very important. See how she has put the gown in one bundle instead of throwing it away. Gown should be followed by the headgear. Every step should be followed by hand sanitization. Followed by shoe cover. And then finally the goggles. So uh, before concluding, I would like to say that donning and doffing are an important aspect of protection of healthcare workers and they should be taken seriously. Now, once the patient has landed in the operating theater, it is recommended that the patient should be handed over to the senior anesthesiologist to be taken care of. So I would hand over the baton to Dr. Minu Chadda ma'am to further guide us through the airway management and completion of surgery. Thank you very much.